paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery, everyone. The podcast that you can guarantee.
You didn't say hello, everyone.
You didn't.
Is that allowed?
That's part of the script.
You said it 500 times.
There
man.
is no script. I do what I want. I'm an innovator who blazes a trail. You can't put me in a box. You can't tell me how to do the intro. These are my intros, and I do them how I please. So sometimes I say hello and welcome everybody to a very special episode of Brainstorm Brewery.
A very episode special.
Very
of Brainstorm
episode
Brewery.
special of
Was that
Brainstorm
another
Brewery.
innovation?
And sometimes I say, hey, it's time to talk about magic. That's what we do here on this podcast, Brainstorm Brewery.
I don't like that one.
And now you have the inverse of me going, I like that one. And DJ going, I don't like that one. Jason's face explains it all. Welcome to the show, everybody. As you can see, we are off and running. Jason is off and drinking.
Do they know why I don't like that though? Like Wednesday night, if you haven't joined us at twitch.tv/Brainstorm Brewery, if there are more than 15 people listening to this podcast right now, then definitely lots of you don't know that we do that. Go to twitch.com/Brainstorm Brewery every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, or just go to that page whenever to watch the video on demand that's up for a couple of weeks. Watch us play EDH. Watch me find out that every time somebody likes or subscribes or gives us their Bezos bucks or whatever, I hear a clip of Corbin going, I like that one. And it's just, I'm the only one who can hear it. It's the worst.
And Jason doesn't know enough about
like,
Twitch to change it. It's the best part. It's just an amazing...
What's the... I could change it?
No, it's set up. You don't have access to that.
I could Google
You'd
how
have
to
Google
change
your
it.
own password first.
Hunter 2, baby.
Hunter 2. Star. Cool. So I don't like hearing Corbin say that, but if you want me to have to hear Corbin say that, you go and you like and you subscribe when I'm streaming, and that'll be a thing that happens to me, and there's nothing I can do about it. So
well, there you go.
That's just like an unpleasant facet of my life that you could make more unpleasant by going to twitch.tv/Brainstorm Brewery when we're streaming and just clicking one mouse to make me
that's
make
what
a face.
Your Amazon Prime's for. Every one of you out there has Amazon Prime. You can go to Twitch. If you don't give your Bezos bucks to us, give them to somebody. But if you want to use them to troll Jason, we fully
don't waste them. Yeah, don't waste your Bezos bucks. Certainly.
Imagine I've never thought about this, but just imagine how many adults. Like my mom has a Amazon Prime account. She's 65. She's never been onto Twitch. Doesn't know what Twitch is. That's $2.50 of real money a month just going to waste. Like
that your mother could have.
Like seriously, just imagine the
she
racket of being like the person who managed the Bezos subscriptions of a giant pool of old people who didn't use them.
What if you could write like an algorithm?
I mean, that's only because like Ben Shapiro hasn't made a Twitch account, right? Like, like that's the only reason your mom hasn't thrown that money in the toilet.
It's just a thought. I mean, you just think about how much money is going to waste out there. You know,
what would Ben Shapiro do? Like nothing would surprise me.
Himself on YouTube.
I can't. What if he played like Rust or something? What if he was like halfway decent?
You think he's good at video games?
No, you don't. No, because I think when everyone else is playing video games, he was taking a briefcase.
I think he would think that he's really good at Among Us.
Yeah. So let's say you did see someone come out of the vent, and let's say it was me, hypothetically.
You know, Among Us would...
I'm going to spend the whole episode doing this and looking.
Among Us would actually be amazing for that, because the beautiful thing about Among Us and, you know, someone like Ben Shapiro is that you don't get to set up and control the audience in the venue and the forum. You start some bullshit like that, and 6 people yell at you, and then it doesn't matter if you're the imposter or not. They don't want to play with you anymore, and then they don't have to listen to you. It's actually just perfect.
You can't cut their mic.
Like, it's great. Just saying. I mean, it just seems like it would be all upside. But you know what? I went pretty deep on Among Us back in the day. We did some streaming of that. You could go find the YouTube videos of it if you really wanted on our YouTube channel. Where, by the way, I will note at youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery, I want to give a shout out to the entire team on this one, but especially our thumbnail artist who came up with a pretty amazing thumbnail of Jason grilling. So the episode Grill Me Daddy, for lack of a worse name, I would say, is popping off on YouTube. So we set some records of our own with that one. Felt kind of good. So shout out for the art. Shout out for, I guess, Jason's grill mastering skills. A lot of you out there wanting to hear, and more specifically, I suppose, watch on YouTube Jason do whatever it is a grill daddy does.
I'm not clear what a grill daddy does still.
Just making it up as you go along. Yeah.
Yeah, just when you become a dad, you just get good at grilling.
Making it up as we go along is actually what we're best at here on this podcast. And that is why this week we've got kind of a loose structure. We had some fun with the segments the last couple of weeks. But tonight we are going to talk about the big news was that Wizards is going to stop printing cards in certain languages. We've got all your...
Oh, thank God. Because you know what? For years, Spanish and Portuguese and French cards have been worth like just no money. Nobody wants those languages. So like the fact that they're going to discontinue the least popular and like least sought languages. Sense, right? Keep the money ones. Keep the Japanese. Keep the German, the Russian, the Korean. The fact that they are willing to keep all the ones where the cards are valuable and dump the ones where that you can't even get rid of on MKM, I think is a good move. Hang on.
Check your notes there. I'm just going to verify. Real quick. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna read this again. It's like, okay, never mind all that. Now I'm mad. Great, cool.
I mean,
yep. So we'll get to all that. We've got all your usual things. We've also got the Magic Twitter did something fun this week instead of something terrible. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's kick things off with my personal favorite segment, because it's the one I'm generally the best at, certainly better than my co-hosts. It's
gaslighting us.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
It's not gaslighting if you just lie. Like, gaslighting is a very like complex form of long-term emotional abuse.
Well, he's done it for like years though. It's the Imagine Dragons. It's this. It's just he wants us to believe he's something he's not.
We should call it
multiple facets.
I believe it. Why shouldn't you? You know,
I don't really have a compelling argument for that. It turns out
Corbin's like a Ben Shapiro on a Twitch account. He's just rocking that.
If I had that level of grift in me, I'd be so rich. But instead, I'm podcasting with you two.
Yeah, why aren't we grifting? Why aren't we pretending that we like died temporarily and we saw God and then just going around doing arena tours? Right? What if we were all driving to a GP and then our vehicle ended up in the river and we pretended we almost died and then we're like, oh yeah, God's real. We would be rich, dude. Why don't we just do that? It's so much easier than convincing people we know what we're talking about.
Let's diversify a little bit. I think Jason can be like the evangelical one. I'll be like the fake doctor.
There you go.
The Jordan Peterson of the group, if you will.
Yeah. I'll be the Joel Osteen. You can be the Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Corbin can be the Million Little Pieces guy, James Fry. You can write.
I wrote the books. Yeah.
Yeah, you write a book about some bullshit that never happened to you, and Oprah will believe it.
Yeah, and maybe the that's good thinking. Yeah.
So there you go.
I have an undergrad psych degree. I'm basically Dr. Phil. Let's be honest.
You're about as qualified as Dr. Phil McGraw. What you need to do is just tell people you're a doctor. My name is Dr. Phil, okay? That was pretty good, right? That was a good Dr. Phil. How dare you?
It was a little bit like South Carolina-y.
Oh, it was a little bit South Carolina. Well, why don't you shut the barn door and tell me it's raining? Okay.
I have a Shards of Alara multicolor uncommon that has 2 reprints.
Fusion Elemental.
No, that card's depressingly worth little. I always pick that card and then it's worth like 8 cents and I put it back.
Shards of Alara, what? I'm sorry, you said Shards of Alara multicolored uncommon?
Correct.
Is it a creature?
Just to clarify, Shards of Alara was the all multicolor set?
Yeah.
No, Corbin, it was not.
Shards of Alara was the base set. You were thinking Alara Reborn.
Okay, great. So Shards of Alara multicolor uncommon.
Is it Rock's Warmonk?
This is still a 3-color set.
Is it Woolly Thokdar?
This card is worth money in 2022, not 2009.
Is it from
Woolly
that
Thokdar,
cycle?
yeah.
It is not from that cycle. It's not a creature.
That whole cycle is almost dead
How many
now.
colors is it? Don't say multi.
3. It's 3 colors.
It's 3 colors. That helps. Oh, so it's not part of that cycle. It's not the Jund one that farts out creatures when it dies?
No, you said it's a creature, and I said no.
Oh, it's not a creature even. Oh, okay. Is it a charm?
It is a charm.
Is it
Bant
Jund?
Charm.
Nope and nope.
Wow. Okay.
Naya Charm. Esper
2 left.
Charm.
It is Esper Charm.
The last one we guessed, huh?
Esper Charm is 75 cents roughly. I'm sure you could probably get dollars for them if you have near mint copies on direct or something like that. But Esper Charm is the best charm out of them all, and the main reason for that being it is an instant speed mind rot that you can just wreck your opponent's day with. And it's only got 2 reprints. It was in Commander 2018 in obviously the Esper deck, and then it was in a mystery booster, so it doesn't have a whole ton of printings.
Esper Charm is great. You can target yourself to draw. You can target your opponents. It has an effect. It fits in a lot of ways similar to what Archmage's Charm does now. All right, DJ, fair enough. Good pick. Just for you, though, I have a blue uncommon from Streets of New Capenna.
Is it the fish one? Is it the one where a guy gets turned into a fish? Is it the counterspell?
Witness protection.
Why are you like this?
What is happening? You have to make guesses.
I said it was going to be a new Capenna Blue Uncommon as a joke, and then you went and picked one. Is it offer you can't refuse?
No.
I said witness protection.
No.
Sleep with the fishes.
No.
Aquaman sleeps with the fishes.
You literally said before the cast, Corbin, you're terrible at this game. It's going to be a Streets of New Capenna Blue Uncommon. And here we are with the Streets of New Capenna Blue Uncommon, and you don't know what it is. I continue to reign supreme at this game.
I resent who you are as a person.
I would too. I'd feel that way too if I were you. All right, I guess I'll just tell you all since you don't know it. Is it the
phasing one?
Slip out the back. It is the phasing one.
Sure.
Slip out the back, Jack.
It's a blue uncommon from New Capenna. Jason, you're up. You have a chance to redeem yourself. What's yours?
Poop pun replaces bubbling muck. Well, if you find yourself slipping out the back, you might want one of these uncommon white cards from Prophecy. I phrase that like a Jeopardy question, so I will insist.
What is crystals? Prophecy?
Crystals.
Corbin's the best at this, isn't he?
Hers is crystals.
Hers is crystals.
What set is Prophecy, quote, the king of breaking bulk? Shards of Alara, that's the one where they're all multicolor, right?
You got it with something he said earlier.
They are mostly multicolored.
When I said revised power, I just meant cards from revised or powerful.
Somebody brought that up on Twitter, and I was like, "That's not." People have lost. They've lost the thread here. It's not. You don't get it. Trust me. No one. Anyways, so no one knows Prophecy. So DJ, why don't you go?
Is it the free one? Is it the one you discard planes to cast?
Is that an artifact or enchantment?
I think it's destroyed like artifact or enchantment by discarding a plane.
Is it foil? Is it
the card blue?
Foil's blue, Corbin.
Oh, it's a white card. Sorry, it's a white card.
I traded a foil straight up for a Force of Will in 2002. Magic used to be wild, dude.
Prophecy White Uncommon.
Enchantment. I'll give you Aura.
Opal Guardian. Oh, Aura.
Opal Guardian was from Saga. Yeah, it's only difference of about 4 years.
How are you supposed to remember the difference between Urza's crystals and Urza's flasks?
You don't call it Beaker anymore. I've trained you. That's so cool. I got you to stop saying Beaker. I incepted you. I went inside your mind. And I drove around in a van that was rolling over.
DJ doesn't know it. DJ doesn't know.
You incepted him by slipping up the back, slipping in the back.
Just to clarify, though, this is all a cover for the fact that DJ
Entangler.
doesn't know what this is.
Entangler lets.
Oh, yep. Yeah, enchanted creature can block any number of creatures.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good card. It's almost a.
That's a good one.
I actually don't know that card, so I guess so.
It's got a woman with like a pitchfork-esque weapon.
You mean
she's like
an
holding back
Entangler?
20 people or something. Is that a
I
real
don't know.
weapon?
It looks. It doesn't look like a pitchfork. It looks.
I don't
like,
think it is.
Like a music. Looks like a
I'm
music
looking at
stand.
it right now. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I'm zoomed in really close on the art here. Maybe Nick can blow it up to look at here. But
did Corbin just do a computer enhance?
you know,
That thing looks nasty. If it went right into you, there's hooks that'll catch you and keep you from sticking out.
what if it got you in the middle? Like
Yeah.
it basically looks like if you imagine the letter N put onto a stick.
Go on.
Put onto a stick. That's what it looks like, man. It's got blades on the sides. It's got just a bar across the middle with spikes in it and impale you and just thrash you around. I guess it really would just entangle you. Yeah. This looks unpleasant. Yeah.
Letter N?
Yeah, man, because it's like a
like
a loop. Like it's a very straight.
It's an H.
It's a very straight.
If anything,
not
it's
like
an H.
a loop. It's not an H.
It's a letter N.
Because it does. I zoomed in really close.
I guess. Did you
think
zoom in? So is there a very small letter N?
Like I'm looking specifically at this, and I'm just telling you that's the closest letter it resembles.
Enhance. Enhance.
This is a good one. Why did this jump?
Yeah, Jason, this is a recent move up to $1. What is the reason this card's worth money? Do you know?
Well,
is there any particular reason?
Jared Carthalion True Air, Light Paws Emperor's Voice, and Earl the Miststalker getting reprinted, I think, are all contributing factors here. Jared Carthalion especially, being able to block a bunch of stuff, but you prevent the damage dealt to him and put counters on it instead. So, like, yeah, he's the ultimate blocker. This is a very good card in that deck. Light Paws too, and being able to tutor for it with Light Paws seems pretty tight.
Light Paws is funny because Light Paws is very close to being a competitive card in paper. It is in, arena only formats. Which somebody told me this, that we now live in a world as we move back to Paper Magic. There are basically 4 arena only formats. I don't know how many people realize that.
Wait, can I guess? It's Historic, Alchemy, Explorer.
And then the game you play.
Is there like a Historic dash Brawl or something like that?
Brawl
like
is what I would say, yeah. Because you're not going to find anybody playing Brawl in paper, but it is a thing still on Arena. Yeah, Historic being... I don't even know what you... Like, I don't even know, I guess, at this point. Like, Alchemy is standard, but with rebalance cards. Historic is anything but with rebalance cards. And I guess Explorer is supposed to maybe one day be Pioneer and doesn't have rebalanced cards. It's bizarre. Meanwhile, Pioneer and Modern exist. Yeah. The arena ecosystem.
It's bizarre.
Getting very far detached
but Corbin,
from the rest of Magic.
How bizarre?
How bizarre?
How bizarre?
Was that supposed to be a
You don't remember
a
the
thing?
song, How Bizarre?
DJ doesn't. He wasn't alive.
Oh, he was probably alive. Don't you remember when you were in diapers and that song was... Yeah, he would have been like... He would have been like 6 years old.
I was raised on Phil Collins and the Beach
baby,
Boys,
you're
Jason.
driving me crazy every time
Against
that
my
I look
will.
around. Is that the song?
Oh, yeah.
It took me a minute to try to remember it
How
all.
bizarre. How bizarre. DJ?
1996.
There you go. So yeah, DJ was just barely alive, right?
Wait, that was 1996? I thought it was like 2000.
Of course you thought that.
Good point.
All right, look, let's move on. Let's talk about the big news.
That's just one of those generic things you just say, and like everyone goes, ooh, and it doesn't have to make sense. And you couldn't possibly explain if you were asked a follow-up question. But it's just like one of those generic things you just pepper somebody with, and everyone goes, oh, congrats, man. You got me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did get you.
Yeah,
we'll take those.
You would think you got me, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would take those.
You would act like that.
You can't. Okay. You would come back.
You would say that I
Careful,
couldn't
Corbin.
come back like that.
Corbin, shush. Corbin, shush. I'll put you on a list.
It's funny because Corbin's on a list and I probably have one.
It is time to move on before we get any deeper to this list talk, unless that list is talking about Magic.
Unless it's the reserved list.
The reserved list. Actually, we're going to start with the news that Wizards is no longer going to be printing cards in Russian, Korean, or traditional Chinese. This is interesting. Russian and Korean cards were obviously worth quite a bit of money. Typically.
Asterisk.
Right, sure, with an asterisk.
Like, old Russian and Korean cards were worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
People buying like Russian New Capenna boxes, like I don't know, fam.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is speaking in a, historically, that's sort of how this would work, and your traditional Chinese didn't necessarily do as well here in the United States, but those are going away. Wizards is no longer going to be printing in those languages, and there's a lot to kind of think about what to make of it, right? I mean, I think with Russia, it seems pretty clear what's going on there. With China, I don't know. I've heard that
China is going to be Russia next summer.
They're still, and they're still doing simplified Chinese. But from what I understand, simplified Chinese is more of the mainland language, and traditional Chinese would be used, say, in Hong Kong. So, I
just want to clarify to everyone, this is a podcast where we can say Taiwan. Corbin, you're allowed to say that. Like, you don't need to John Cena your way out of it. Like, you can say...
Understood.
You can say what you mean.
So, with...
the Chinese region of Taipei. But it's like, it's dubbed over as I'm saying Taiwan, clearly.
With Magic, Li Shitian has been a very vocal player for this on the international stage and has made statements and things to the effect on Wizards streams before. So I don't know. Like you said, this is certainly a business decision, but when you start like Russia being on the list, right, just as you're automatically going to start talking about how it might have, other impacts around the world politically, and that's one of them. But then getting rid of Korean is sort of interesting because at least in the United States, people have traditionally really liked Korean cards. So I don't know. DJ, what's your take on all of it?
My very broad take is that it is a decision that impacts not nearly as many people as Magic Twitter thinks it does.
Sure.
I understand that the population of these regions is very large and that there are Magic players in these regions, and I think Wizards knows that there are Magic players in these regions too. I think a lot of these players in those regions already prefer and play with English cards that are printed in English. Historically, with some exceptions, non-English cards have not been in very high demand across the globe. Like, even if you just go to, like, Japan or other regions around the globe, like, English cards are still worth more. That part of that is because the rest of the world is bilingual and can speak English, and most of the United States is not. Most of the United States can't even speak one language, but that's beside the point.
Can't speak English,
and I think
wonder
there
what
are
percentage of the country speaks Spanish. Like, everyone's like, oh, Americans, they can only speak one language. But, like, if you try to hear a British person try to pronounce Spanish, they sound deaf. It's really funny. Oh, have you not had tacos? Oh, we had tacos in Los Angeles. Okay, man. Yeah, and we're the ones who can only speak one language. Got it. Don't you vacation in Spain? How did you pick nothing up? Ooh. Got my goat. That's a very specific pet peeve of mine.
Got his goat, he says.
From a business perspective, I think it's very clear that Wizards has run the numbers or done whatever sort of back-end calculations that you'll never get to see the math behind as to why they did this. I think that there are trickle-down benefits to store owners and the fact that, like, you're reducing the number of SKUs in each set, which is, like, a non-zero, like, positive impact for
go ahead and
businesses.
Explain that for people who don't know what you're talking about there.
So an SKU is the individual sales unit number for something on, like, Amazon, or, like, if you go to, like, Magic and you type in Double Masters 2022, okay, you have however many cards in the set. It's like 800 or something cards in Double Masters 2022. Okay, so you have 5 conditions, theoretically, like near mint, LP, MP, HP damaged. So that's like 3,200 individual registration numbers for all of these cards. And then you multiply that by the number of variant printings that card has. And then you multiply that by the number of languages that Magic hasn't been printed in. And for every single product that comes out, you have like tens of thousands of lines on a spreadsheet for individual listings for Magic cards. And I understand that this is something that like the average Joe or Jane does not need to care about when interfacing with Magic as a game, but it is something that a store owner does. And like just reducing that load for cards that are very low volume and very infrequently transacted as a general rule is like probably a positive thing overall. That's like obviously not including the fact of like any political decisions of Wizards or like how they're interfacing with like Ukraine, etc., blah blah blah. Like if they're just focusing on like we have these number of factories that are printing these number of cards and these number of boxes and these number of things are being allocated to stores, and then they're not selling, and then they're sitting on shelves, etc., warehouses, distributors, all that stuff. I think that this is a decision that will probably be forgotten by Magic Twitter very quickly, even in the frame of reference of Magic Twitter's memory. And like they've done this before. Like this is not the first time that they have axed Korean as a language. They had Korean cards early on in like Old Border and Urza's block and that sort of era, and then they cut it for like 10 years. I think they brought back Korean in like original Innistrad. I remember being like a thing of like, oh, they're bringing back Korean
Isn't
cards.
That exactly
really excited.
When Kim Jong-il died?
I have not run those numbers, but maybe, but like they've dropped and added languages before, and I don't think that this is.
It just ultimately doesn't seem like a huge deal to me. Regardless,
and I understand that like that can sound tone deaf.
We don't care if you speak those languages. Yeah, that's.
Well, let me rephrase for our audience, who is going to assume largely English speaking, and for people in the United States, where we are based out of and speaking towards, and my LGS, I cannot see this being a big deal to anybody. Your average Magic player that I interact with. If you live in those areas, I can't speak to it.
Yeah, if you are in one of these impacted regions and you are not receiving cards in your native language anymore, it is absolutely frustrating. I'm not trying to diminish that or say that that doesn't matter.
But on the market, we're just talking about the market as a whole that we interact with, which is here largely in North America. So
yes, I very infrequently sell non-English cards on TCG Player, and like there are people that love them. There are Magic players who are like, yeah, like I love Russian cards. I buy all the boxes of Russian. I actively seek them for my legacy decks, and it can be a really cool like collector hunt to try to make all of your deck one specific language, especially when those cards are hard to find, like finding Old Border Korean cards or Old Border Russian cards. That can be a really fun, cool thing. But
it's very niche within a niche within a niche.
Yeah. And when I posted this tweet and I shared the original article, I had some people commenting saying like, oh wow, all these old Russian cards are going to spike, and like that's not going to happen. I don't think so either. That's not going to be a thing. Number one, these players are already hard to find who want them and are willing to pay the premium for foils. And number two, like people want their decks to match. And so, like,
whales are not
even fewer.
Yeah, whales are not lacking for options at this point either.
Right? Like, there's even fewer people collecting Russian and Korean cards going forward if they can't match them to the new cards that get printed. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's that.
I always have I have the game day. I have Russian game day promo Silver Adepts in my Merfolk deck. I was proud of those, and now I guess they're truly legacy. Yep. So all right, not huge impacts we think to the market here.
Overall, though.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next bit of news. I won't lie, I did have a little bit of part of myself spreading this one on Twitter, but there is this rumor floating around that has been floating around vendor circles, and in no one particular direction, but I saw it hit social media this week, and then it got picked up and moved on. The idea that hidden treasures might come back, or priceless treasures, or whatever the promotion was called that Wizards did during the original Zendikar, where they took a reserve lists or old expensive cards and just randomly selected first run boosters to put them in. So you literally could open a Black Lotus from a Zendikar booster pack. The rumor is that it's something similar is coming back for the 30th anniversary, which is next year and kicks off in the fall with the big celebration in Vegas that myself and I'm sure other people will be at. So look, again, a rumor, but hey, I think it would be pretty neat. Is this something you all can see Wizards doing at all in 2022? Because I'm not sure if I see it.
For Magic's 30th anniversary, I can see it. So with Magic,
so to me, they really want to double down on the convention stuff.
Yeah,
maybe they're going to be in convention only packs. Something like that.
Like they did with the weird playtest cards that were in the convention edition of the mystery boosters.
Which I don't know what they're worth now, but for a long time were worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, and then they reprinted it and it was like, oh, this is $500 on TCG players, so just give me $350 and we're good. Unlike
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know that for a long time though, they would buy lists well. Like people wanted those playtest cards. The idea of convention exclusives, especially in a post-COVID world from the Wizards of the Coast event hosting perspective, that they could see it as a big tool. So I don't know.
I mean, they dusted off
like
booster boxes. They dusted off a booster box of beta at GP Vegas a couple of years ago. So, and they've done that a couple times.
We did a beta draft. I was there.
So,
I could see something like it. I think if you do see something like that, you're more likely to see it at one event than you are to see it in, for instance, Dominaria United's draft boosters.
Yeah.
That's not.
I mean, there's some people who are already. Right? There are already people who are jaded and being like, "Oh, well, if they do that, it'll only be in the collector boosters."
Maybe.
We have a guest coming on next week who is, I guess, closer to the source of the rumor, who can talk more about this. But like, I do think that this is a way for them to at least, I guess, lean in towards the historical aspect of Magic, which is something they don't do super frequently. Like Dominaria, even when we last visited it in 2018, had a lot of references towards just older players or older cards, or like just ways to like hit that nostalgia bonus and like be like, oh yeah, I remember this character, I remember this, even this weird flavor text or this one land that nobody cared about. Oh yeah, I and like we saw record numbers for Dominaria selling out.
Yep, that was
even like when the set was in standard, the boxes were going for like 130, 140, and it was crazy. Something that hadn't been seen.
That was the peak. That was the peak of Magic to me, personally. I think was that era. Not I'm not talking any one particular thing, but just organized play. Felt like it was in a good place. We hadn't started hitting the War of the Spark-On explosion of power creep and products. There obviously was a different world in regards to COVID, but Dominaria came out. It brought back so many players. We sold out. That was the largest event I ever ran in my LGS. We ran out of chairs. Had people playing on the counter so we could try to fit everybody. It was huge. It brought people out of the woodwork who hadn't played Magic in 15 years because of all those things DJ mentioned. And on top of that, it had good cards, but nothing overtly, broken level. But it felt like it had fun cards for multiple formats. And the draft was really good. People love Dominaria. So yeah, it'd be cool if we get something similar. Anything that can capture a vibe like that would be huge for Magic.
I think that there is a way to do it correctly, and I really hope they do. Another big difference between like Zendikar's hidden treasures and theoretically Dominaria's hidden treasures is the presence of social media and the ability to trend and the ability to like have that go viral and be like you have like Kotaku writing an article about how somebody pulled a $1,300 card from a booster pack in 2022 and like you have that like nostalgia hit in addition to like reaching out to the I guess like the real world and in a way to like the non-Magic news circles and have that trending on Facebook and somebody scrolling through and they're a Fortnite gamer and they're a Hearthstone gamer and they'd be like, wait, Magic's still a thing and their people are open to volcanic islands and then that person goes down a rabbit hole and they're back into Magic.
And they buy a
like,
secret lair.
Right, like there's a way for them to do it correctly, and I hope they do. And I think it'd be a great way to, continue to put cards into the market that already exist without printing them from the reserved list. Like I think that is a way to insert, because I mean Wizards has they are rumored to have like this insane 6-7 digit number value to vaults of like just old stuff of like boxes of Arabian Nights antiquity. Like there's these
like
rumors.
One case.
There's rumors and like hearsay of pallets of revised starter decks and all this stuff, and like that is a resource that they can crack into theoretically if it exists. And now we're getting into the very, very weeds of the speculation.
Yeah, and I will say on that note, I think that those rumors are overblown. I do not think that there is nearly as much of a vault as people seem to think there is, based on my understandings.
Last time they were getting shit out of
draft
people's
in Vegas,
desks.
Like that beta draft in Vegas.
Yeah,
they don't just have. There's not just an unlimited vault of beta packs to pull, beta boxes to pull from.
I believe you. Yeah. I think last time for the hidden treasures, a lot of that did come off the secondary market, and if they were going to run that back, it's a lot different. It's a much different line on Wizards budget report, right? Like if they're like, yeah, let's buy like a Legends box, that's a different conversation in 2008. Like,
yes, yeah. So we'll see. You know, they may have options of sheets. That may be something they may have from the vault, sort of, that hadn't been touched, etc. There's different things, but DJ, the social media point is interesting, because one of the very common replies to my thread about this was people saying, well, did anybody ever even really open one of those priceless treasures?
My friend,
or was it just marketing?
My friend did. And so the case we chopped, yes, he definitely opened one. So like,
it 100%. It happened. There were a number of people who spoke up saying either they personally opened one, or, you know, they watched somebody open one. I can confirm that I also was aware of people opening them at the time.
Somebody in our Discord said, like, oh, yeah, I opened a plateau. And then somebody replied with pics or it didn't happen, and they had receipts. Like, they had the picture of them and their friend holding the plateau at, like, a Zendig with, like, a 2009-esque phone camera. So, like, you know it's real. Like,
you know what we got from the case that we opened? A damaged beta Swords to Plowshares signed by the artist.
That's cool, though.
That is cool.
Yeah. Like, isn't that
better? But that shows you how deep they were going,
a bulk
right?
rare or something? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look how deep they were going, right? Like, that's a damaged card you got.
Yeah. So it was clearly somebody yanked that off the secondary market. Like, that had been in somebody else's deck, and then we got it in a booster pack. That was so wild.
Booster pack.
Well, it wasn't just like, oh, WotC had these around. It's like, no, dude, we got this back in our possession after spending years in a collection just getting scraped up in someone's binder, and now here it is.
Yeah. And it's like somebody on WotC using like a fake name to buy it on eBay so that they don't arouse suspicion. Like,
I do believe that. I don't know, but WotC had to acquire all of those cards one way or another. Back then, WotC used to send us cards in the mail. He used to send us foil cryptic commands, right? We've talked about that on the podcast. So they clearly used to have a different level of tolerance for the logistical hurdles when it came to doing something special for players. I don't know that it would be feasible to do this in the year of our Lord 2022 or 2023 from a cost perspective, from a numbers perspective, which how much is out there. And you really do have the question, would it go in collector boosters only? I mean, that's fine, I guess, but like, does it really do much for your promotion?
It's only going to go in
Twitter
those 12 card supermarket packs they were talking about that didn't always have a rare.
You know, like the $2 6 cards. Sometimes, like, you get a rare a third of the time, but like a third of a time you get like an Alpha Shivan Dragon. Like, And the person that opens it has no clue.
Yeah, it's gonna be some 9-year-old kid who's mad that his card's ripped.
I did, so like when the Stranger Things Secret Lair came out, there's the Mind Flayer card.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mind Flayer card, if you turn it over, it's upside down because that's the joke.
Right.
And
it shows up upside down across the magic internet. It's terrible. Yeah.
I was joking with a friend and we were talking like, yeah, somebody's going to open up a misprinted one and it's going to be like correct. It's going to have like the normal back, but the person who opens up the misprinted one won't know and they'll just play it like a normal magic card.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool, actually. Right?
Like a Mind Flayer with a normal magic back.
That would be some next level. Like, I'd be into that. That would actually be a fun.
Listen, if anybody has opened their Secret Lair, Stranger Things, non-foil, and if the Mind Flayer you got was damaged out of the pack, I cannot stress this enough, out of the pack, you can't just run it over with your chair, reach out to me because I need one for Gonti. But it has to be damaged out of the pack, which is not outside the realm of
which is something that
possibility
he absolutely cannot verify.
Just for the record, yeah. Huh. All right. Well, that's...
He's going to pick it up and smell it and lick it and shit, be like, you ran this over with your chair.
I mean, what if... They've been doing a lot of the Secret Lair hidden cards or bonus cards or whatever you want to call them. They've been doing some of these numbered runs even. There's a persistent petitioners floating around. I've seen some slivers floating around recently as those bonus cards. I mean, they did the different colors of Hidetsugu. They're leaning into it, so I'm not going to say that there's not going to be a $30 booster to have a chance of opening up a reserve list card that they pulled. One in one pallet chance. $20 booster.
They did the God packs in Journey to Nyx.
Yeah,
I don't know if
those were fun. When it had every god in it, that was cool.
Yeah. You could open up a 15 card booster pack from Journey to Nyx, and it had one of each god just straight up.
That's pretty cool.
And like that was
they didn't get enough credit
just,
for how clever that was because people used to talk about god packs, and they made a god pack.
Yeah, it was really neat. Agreed.
Like, if you got like the Liliana the Veil and the Garruk Relentless in the same pack, that was your god pack from Innistrad. But like, no, they did it with 15 cards that had the creature type god, which is excellent.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. These days, though, you'll have to get it in the. I just checked here. The count is there are 119 Secret Lair products. So we'll get a little counter down here, and ding, 119 of them. So maybe number 120 will be the hidden treasures might come as your bonus card in a Secret Lair. Like, why stop at $20 booster packs when you can sell $50 direct-to-consumer Secret Lairs that might have hidden treasures as the bonus cards?
And then
just a thought.
By the time you get it, it'll be worth even more. 2 years down the line.
All of that might be true. 119, that's the count. The Warhammer ones are the most recent ones coming out after a fortnight. So that's your Secret Lair update. All right. So all in all, yeah, I mean, it's some interesting Magic news in this front of some rumors to talk about. Give you some of that summer news cycle that you need as we inch closer. Honestly, not that far away from rotation coming up here in just a few months. So, all right, let's round out the episode this week with Pick of the Week, courtesy, as always, of our sponsor, mtgstocks.com, the best place across the internet for all Magic card pricing and Pokemon card pricing, the best place to go to look up sealed product, your interests, cards, and sealed product that is moving, and the premium features give you a ton of flexibility and filters you can set to add and stay ahead of the finance game. We use MTG stocks for everything here on this podcast, and you should too.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, on to Pick of the Week. I'm going to start it off. This is a card that I ran into over the weekend. That's pretty powerful, I have to say. Cursed Mirror. It's a 3-mana red artifact, 2 and a red. Taps to add red. Okay, so it's just a weird 3-mana mana rock. But in the continuing the trend of improving 3-mana mana rocks, Cursed Mirror as it enters the battlefield may become a copy of any creature until the turn, except it has haste. So for 3 mana, you get a copy of Solemn, something like that, right? You can just play it as your mana rock early that gets value by copying a creature, but later in the game, it can come into play as a Crater Hoof or whatever the heck else you want. Curse Mirror, pretty insane, I think, especially at the current price of $3, which has climbed up from $2.50 or so before that. There's a full art version, it's $5 or $6, so take your pick, but big fan of Curse Mirror moving forward.
The Gaming Co.'s wall on this is currently $3.78 for 300 copies.
It's over $1,000. You could really jack things up.
It's still plenty of copies below that. It takes another couple. It takes like another 100 or so copies to reach the $5-6 mark. But yeah.
Okay, so for $2,000.
Yes.
Start selling these for $5 each.
We'll get there.
That's stonks, baby.
That's stonks. Yeah, I'm not saying this one's gonna happen tomorrow, but this is a mana rock I believe, and I've seen this thing be very good.
Super dope.
Jason, what is your pick of the week?
Well, as you know, Double Masters is out, and already people have gotten bored with it. Clearly the prices aren't all the way down yet. You know, they will be at peak supply. And it's a little bit murkier when that is, so just watch prices closely. But anything that's like a staple in EDH has got to rebound. I'm looking at a lot of different stuff, honestly, and it's hard to pick just one thing. Some things really kind of make me think were just a scarcity-based price, and that's probably not going to recover. Some things make me think they let it get so high for so long that they're going to hit it with 1 or 2 more reprints. So I'm staying away from stuff like Phyrexian Altar, because I think it'll probably get reprinted again soon. I think Imperial Seal was only expensive because it was rare. So once you start taking stuff like that, the set looks a lot clearer. And I really like $25 Consecrated Sphinx right now. It's going to get cheaper. So if you get a $20 Consecrated Sphinx, this goes back up to $40. I don't think it's going to get reprinted anytime soon, and this card's just unfair. I realize there are a lot of different versions of it, but like it always manages to just go back up to like near $50. If you can get a $20 Consecrated Sphinx, that is a steal. It's gonna go back up, and I don't think that it didn't get a rarity downshift. It hasn't been printed twice in a 12-month period. All the stuff that kind of makes me a little bit skittish about some other stuff, like Bloom Tender seems like it was just scarcity, and I kind of think Crucible Worlds gets another reprint. Consecrated Sphinx doesn't have any of the hallmarks of a card that generally you don't make money back on. It's played in like 40,000 EDH decks on EDH Rec. It's a good card, and it'll take another reprinting for it to be this cheap again. A lot of this stuff is going to go right back up, especially the stuff that's in lots of EDH decks.
I think a lot of the cards in this set are probably going to rebound sooner than we think, or they're not going to go as low as we think they might from here, because we're going to hit the fall. Dominaria United, no one's going to care about this set anymore. It's going to be in the rearview mirror, and there's just a lot, right? There's just a lot of them. So like it depends on the printing, right? I guess I don't know how. I've heard it's kind of short printed, but I don't know how, if they're going to be doing more of it. Insights into that, maybe change the math a little bit. But I tend to be with you in the boat that I expect good rebounds over the next year for a lot of the cards.
If you ignored every set and just saved all your money and once a year bought the reprint set where the cards were already in a thing, how much they're played in EDH, you don't have to guess. You know what they cost before, you don't have to guess. There's no guessing. It's just like, what's the floor? You guess that you paid the least you possibly can. When you were buying like $1 austere commands and like a dollar, shit, I had a card. Reaver Demon, I don't know. What's the... whatever. When you were buying like $1 austere commands, you're like, yeah, this probably goes to 5. And like, you didn't expect it to go to 12, but like, it didn't matter because $1 austere command is always good. There are so many cards in this set. It's like...
That card doesn't seem as good because it's like 60 cents now and it got 4 reprints back to back.
But I mean, like over the 12-month period between like when that was the first Double Masters and then
it was an iconic as well.
Yeah, I think it was iconic.
That card had a price in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so listen, that card was an iconic Masters, and it went down to $3 after that printing, and then it peaked back up at $15. Even that printing did. So yeah, it definitely proves your point. Even though now it's been sort of
it's not gonna be that profound on some of these cards, but like,
yeah,
if you can get a $5 Forbidden Orchard, it just seems like a no-brainer when we already saw what a reprint in an EDH set with way more supply did to Forbidden Orchard, and what Forbidden Orchard's demand, despite being mostly played in Vintage on top of EDH, getting no help from other formats. Forbidden Orchard just climbed right the hell back up. So if you can already see what a reprint did to this card, if you don't anticipate a reprint in the next 12 to 24 months, all this stuff is slam dunks. There's no wrong buy. Just go deep. Is a $2 Supreme Verdict good? I don't know, but like, buy $100 worth and see. If you make $1 a copy, you made $50. You did it. You know, it's when like cards that are played in 35,000 decks on EDH Rec hit $1. It's hard to anticipate not buy listing it for $350 in a year, right? So like,
we've certainly seen. Yeah, I mean, some of them will go that way, and some of them will get reprinted into the ground, and some of them will get power crept out of oblivion. But yes, in general, you're going to do pretty well on these.
So these are the sets. These are the sets I wait for. We could do a whole episode about how just like I don't love talking about what do you think Light Pause is going to be worth in 6 months. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about Bloom Tender, because we got lots of data on Bloom Tender.
All right, DJ, what would you like to round it out with this week?
My pick of the week does not give you financial security. It gives you emotional and physical security. And that is the shirts and hoodies at Coalesce Apparel. Excellent store, excellent website. We actually managed to land on the front page of the collections tab. And I love collections. I buy collections all the time for Magic. And so if you go to the coalesceapparel.shop, you scroll down, we are next to, which is snuggled, huggled right in between Caleb Durward and Shivan Bhatt. That is where we're in the middle of that perfect trio.
It does feel good. I'm not gonna lie.
You click that button, and then that takes you to the shirts and or the hoodies, and then you get both. And then after you get both, you're like $29.99, $54.99, 10% off with the gift code Brainstorm Brewery. You're like, okay, so that leaves me at like $70-ish, and then you're like, what? If I add one more shirt, then I get free shipping, because it's free shipping over $100 within the US. So then you're like 2 shirts and 1 hoodie with the gift code that reaches that perfect sweet spot. So you maximize the discount of the free shipping.
You don't have to buy our shirts. You could buy one of Ristic Study Sam's shirts, or something of Shivan's, or something of Caleb's.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that collections tab also has Jim Davis and Ristic Studies on it. So like, those are options, and you can get the stickers. You can get the Anti-Mulligan Mulligan Club, which is a reference to Wu-Tang Clan, which went over my head for the first 6 times I looked at it until somebody pointed it out to me.
Look, I have to say, Cedric at Coalesce Apparel has done a really, really good job of putting together some awesome content creators. And it's actually pretty cool that we're included in that. I'm not going to lie.
The number of I think like 30 to 40% of the bodies of the warm human bodies in SCG Syracuse's venue were wearing Coalesce Apparel. And that's what they walked in with, not what they purchased at the event.
And it's going to grow. I think that Cedric did a very, very, I mean, look, we non-sponsor, pitch aside here. This is something that a lot of content creators in general, but especially in Magic space, know that we need. And it's, DJ's right. So everyone walks into a convention with some kind of Coalesce Apparel shirt. This company's going to keep growing and doing well. So I'm glad that we're glad to be a part of it. So go check out Coalesce Apparel. DJ, did you want to add a bonus pick of the week, or is that it?
Oh yeah, my bonus pick is I can basically just like Control-C, Control-V everything Jason said, but for hardened scales.
Yep, that's right.
Like, my pick is not particularly interesting, nor do I have much additional insight into it. It is hardened scales. It's a Commander and Modern card, and it went back down to $5 after it's ridden that roller coaster between 5 and 10 multiple times.
It's $4 on Cool Stuff Inc.
$4 on Cool Stuff Inc., or it's like 18 cents on Cool Stuff Inc. if you've already given them $50,000 and you reach their max discount tier or whatever.
I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Just to clear, I'm almost there. The last tier I think was another $2,000 or something.
Yeah,
almost.
and another good thing about Cool Stuff Inc. is they have really good taste in who they hire to write articles since 2013. So,
Agreed. The store credit counting towards that discount, A+.
super dope.
DJ's shaking his head. Well, everybody, I think that does it for us. We'll get out of here before DJ gets any more frustrated at us trolling. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler for Jason and DJ. Patreon.com/BSB
you're on
if
my
you want.
list now.
Oh,
What do you mean for Jason and DJ? We're here. You don't have to.
That's what you
sign
say
up
for
us.
Jason and DJ. I'll see you later. Go to Patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate the
But that's
support.
like
We'll see you next
that's
week.
like if the weather guy is like not there anymore, and like the sports guy, you say for that. But like we're right here, man. I know that we're not in a studio, but like you don't have to act like we can't do our own outro. What if I've been playing a thing? Right? What if I had an old bit for my own outro?
You didn't. You never have. Would you like to sign off, Jason? Would you like to do a sign off?
Well, I mean, it's...
Do you have any parting
kinda
words?
ruined
Yeah, really. You can't set it up like that. It's got to be a little bit more organic, man. It's got to...
Okay, I've got a plan for
Yeah, right? Like,
I've got a plan for
you
next
really
week.
kneecap it. I had a really good one, but like, I can't...